Yeah, here we go.
Poundawa
Week
podcast.
17 of Pound the Walk podcast, y'all.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
Thanks for tuning in.
we are down to our last two regular season games.
Yeah, Merry
Or weeks, sorry.
Christmas, Happy
Yeah.
Hanukkah, right?
Merry Chrysler.
Happy Gilmore too. But yeah, man, we had week 16, and we've already had two games this week on Christmas. The Christmas Netflix special didn't crash for me, so that was good. I mean, slaughterings,
Technically, we've had
right?
three games this week, but two of them were on Christmas.
Yeah, and I'm sure we would have got the Christmas games correct if we had picked them. I mean,
I'm just kidding. We only had two games.
yeah,
Also,
I
if
was
you
trying to
like
pretend.
start,
I was trying to pretend that I knew what you were talking about. That's why I
there are
referenced
certain
just
weeks where
Christmas.
like you'll say something and it's just completely wrong, and we just don't catch it. And like I was just seeing if you were gonna say something.
Dude, right before we started recording, I was like, act professional. So I thought in my head, like, I'm just gonna power through that one and just pretend. But
There we go. Yeah, so
I
we had
still
two
was only gonna
games.
talk about the two Christmas games, which they were pretty. I guess it was like obvious what was gonna happen in those games, and they really happened. You know?
Yeah, I mean, so I know you had them blank on your picks for this prediction, but
Yeah,
we talked about it before, and we kind of settled. You know, they were pretty obvious who we were going to select anyway.
yeah. So
Um, Neither Pittsburgh or Houston were going to be our choices. So if you see that, come on, y'all, give us a break. But yeah, good week 16. I did end up missing a couple of the 4 o'clock games because I was at a hockey game, but
well,
let's
yeah.
dive into it and just kind of talk about it.
Yeah, and right into it, week 16 picks. I was already, if we want to talk about our competition, I was down 9. I wrote it down. I was down 9, which is terrible. Uh, I, once again, didn't really look or reflect into these picks yet till right now, so we'll see what we did, and we'll go over these games. I recall week 16 starting with quite a good game.
It
Uh,
was
Quite
a
a good
very
one.
nice game to start with, and let's segue into that. It was your boys
Bolt up, baby.
kicking it off.
And there's the picks right there. Oh, we both got 12. I'll take it. I'll take it. But yeah, man. Starting it off was Denver at LA, baby. Uh, Thursday night football. Denver was ahead of us in the playoff rankings coming into it. We beat Denver earlier in the season, but they're coming in hot, and that's exactly what they did, man. And we, if you don't remember, we were coming off a Tampa Bay loss, a real ugly one, where the second half our defense was essentially non-existent. We could not stop the run. We could not stop anything. And that's exactly what Denver came to, like a real well-scripted offense, like 3 drives in a row, just drove down the field and scored. We tried to survive. Crazy free kick, like first time in like 55, 60 years that's ever happened. That's pretty sick. And we came back, 21-13 at half. And then the second half, we just lit it up. And I'm wearing this Herbert jersey because of that, because this man, Jay Herbo, really, like, he just showed out. He proved that he was the best quarterback out there. And that's exactly what he did. He locked in and just balled out with the injuries, using his feet, using his arms, some amazing touchdowns. Once again, still throwing it to receivers that have never caught touchdowns in their lives, literally. And we did it, man. We pulled through. Big win for us. Big playoff contention purposes for us, and it was beautiful, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, very ugly first half, but your offense made the right adjustments. They saw something, and y'all exploited that later in the game. Obviously, came out with a monster W, especially for an offense that hasn't been really clicking a whole lot this year against a pretty solid Denver
Mm-hmm.
defense, or at least their secondary. So to put up 34 points, come back like that. Jay Herb's at almost 300 yards. Ladd McConkey was doing his thing out there. So y'all came together as a team in the second half. So congrats.
Yeah.
You're inching a little bit closer to that locking that playoff spot in.
And our interior line, man, like every game they've looked terrible in pass protection, and they couldn't get no push in the run. At least in pass protection this week, they looked really good. And Denver leads the league in sacks. It's a lot of coverage sacks, like you said. They don't have studs at the line, but they lead the NFL in sacks, and we held them just like 2 sacks near the end of the game. So
You also
kudos to
shut the
them.
run game off,
Yeah.
when you needed to, because like you said, they were running all over you early in the game. I was watching it, was thinking, Jesus Christ, make a fucking tackle,
Yeah, it
giving
was
up
rough.
7, 13 yards every play. But then y'all really, kind of choked that up a little bit. So, congrats, big dub. Both got that one right.
Hell yeah, brother. And then I guess that goes right into Saturday football we had last week. Houston at KC.
Football,
KC
football.
Yeah, KC gets the dub, baby.
Yeah,
Once
they
again, finding ways to win.
exactly finding ways to win. Tank Dell had a solid-ish game, but
It's tanked out.
Nico Collins had I think a couple of good catches there, but I don't think he's still for some reason fully back in yet. But again, KC's still finding dubs. The Houston offensive line still struggling, like we say every week. It kind of showed there. Plus, it's going to be difficult to beat KC at home late in the season like this. They're definitely playing for that home field advantage, and they showed up.
Yeah, they just locked it in. They locked in the first seed now,
They,
so they're
they
going to be
did
home
now.
field
Yep.
all through playoffs. And yeah, Tank Dell, dude, Jesus Christ, his leg snapped, his fucking knee. He tore his ACL and like other stuff too, dislocated his
Yeah,
kneecap. He broke his
head
femur
knee
last
injury.
year. He broke his femur last year, like lower femur, so it seemed like the same type of injury. And
It's unfortunate
it's
because he was
so sad.
balling out that game too. I mean, he
Yeah,
was almost over that century mark prior to going out. It's unfortunate that he goes out, like you said, with a similar injury.
yeah, man.
Hopefully, he gets a speedy recovery. I know they're in our division, but you definitely don't want to see talented young guys like that go down for too long. So, uh, I guess good job, KC, figuring it out again.
Yeah, man. And then we had another Saturday football,
Huge game.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh at
Huge
Baltimore.
game.
I think it was Lamar's. We said this last week. Lamar's first game hosting Pittsburgh with actual fans in the crowd, because of COVID and all that. He balled. He balled. As of late, I mean, once again, of course, we had the Christmas games and he played then too. But he's doing everything he can to get that MVP vote. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, looking at stats right now, I mean, he's outpacing Josh Allen at this point. So if he continues on this path, it's if he doesn't get it, it might be a little bit more of that racism. But
yeah, I mean, there's those big wins that really separated. Like obviously head to head. Like I mean, not head to head. The Bills beat the Chiefs. The Bills beat the Lions. Right, those type of games. And then you had those similar weeks where the first Steelers matchup, and then before that, I think the Browns upsetted him. It was those type of games that kind of fizzled him out to make people start saying Josh Allen. But yeah, we still got another week of football here. Lamar Jackson, if he takes the division win, like winning that division instead of getting a wild card spot, should give him more MVP nod too. So I don't know. I kind of do lean Lamar Jackson now after the last 2 weeks.
I mean, I can see you arguing it. I'm still leaning slightly more Josh Allen because if you take Josh Allen out of the equation, I think the Bills are just an awful team.
Yeah,
I think you take
yeah,
Lamar out of the equation, and Ravens are still a solid team. I don't
hmm
think they're as dominant, and you're relying heavily on Derrick Henry and getting both tight ends scheming, and you got Zay Flowers out there, but
yeah. I
uh,
mean, that is the true definition of most valuable player. You're absolutely
right.
right. But
So
that's
if you
also
remove that
an
single piece.
understatement to Lamar Jackson's abilities. You know what I mean?
It is. Look, he's got a lot of weapons out there, and that RPO with that man in the
Yeah,
backfield behind
it's
you,
like
it makes it
impossible.
really difficult. So
Yeah.
you take each of them out of the equation. I think the Bills suffer more than the Ravens, and that's why I'm leaning slightly more. But I can definitely see why you're going to talk about
Yeah.
Lamar in that contention. So
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. So I guess we had
all right,
first Sunday football, New York Giants at Atlanta. Yeah.
yeah,
Michael
Atlanta.
Penix, he looked good. He looked good actually. It was his first start. He did what he had to do type thing. And New York Giants are. I was saying this before started recording it. You could definitely argue. I mean, look at the stats. They're ranked the worst. They're probably the worst team in the league right now, man. They've been stinking it up.
I mean, they're not looking good. To lose to a rookie quarterback like that, not to take away anything away from the rest of the Atlanta team, but you're benching your stud quarterback Kirk Cousins, putting in a rookie, and then for them to drive it up 34-7, you're not producing anything on offense. You can't stop them on defense. So yeah, they are quite possibly the worst team in the league.
Yeah. Big win for Atlanta, taking the
Good
division
job,
lead. Yeah.
Good job, Michael Penix, man. That's a hell of a first start.
Yeah, way to throw him right in there to get the play, like try to win the division type thing too. So that was cool.
There
Then
we
we
go.
had New England at Buffalo, right? Our number one. I think that was your number one ranked team coming into last week, right?
It
It was
was.
mine as
It
well.
was.
It was a tough,
It was a
close,
closer
grinded
game.
out one.
It was a
Yeah,
close game.
yeah, divisional, but yeah,
I mean, Buffalo. I mean, what else are you going to say? We're talking about the potential MVP. He came in there, he did his thing, and it's New England. They're maybe not as bad as we painted them at the start of the season, but they're certainly not a good team.
yeah.
Um,
Drake
But,
May opens them up.
Drake May, I think there's those charts you see where like how you like categorize each team.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like ass teams, and then there's one of the things like ass teams with a decent quarterback. And it's Drake
Yeah,
May.
like I don't think Drake May brings them down whatsoever. He definitely knows how to evade like a broken pocket and extend the play with his legs. He definitely can do that. He's athletic, and like we said last week, New England's they're a cold weather team too. So I guess they pounded it out and had that tough matchup with Buffalo. But kudos to Buffalo, they still won the game. I mean, I was confident that they were going to win that game being down early. So yeah.
Yeah, they pulled a Kansas City, just barely edged it by there.
Yeah.
Good job, Buffalo. They're still fighting, chipping away.
Yeah.
All right, Detroit at Chicago. Detroit's still another great team. Chicago's still finding their way. Jared Goff had a huge game. Jahmyr Gibbs, huge game. Jameson Williams, monster game.
Yeah.
So that offense is still just producing and clicking, even without David Montgomery. So they're pretty banged up on defense too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, they did what they had to do. I mean, you could say it was a dominant win. They won by multiple possessions, and I guess it's a statement game in that sense too. Coming into the first game without David Montgomery, and they still were able to spread the wealth and like show that they still have weapons like all around the field. So I wouldn't be, it wasn't like a deterring thought at all. Like I don't know, they won. They did what they had to do. So I don't think they're any worse than they are, man. Even without David Montgomery, they still look like they can dominate.
They are too talented and explosive on offense, and I think them doing all those crazy plays, ridiculous plays early in the season. I mean, that just means that they have a really deep playbook that you might not use traditional plays to drive the ball down the field, and they've been successful at doing that. They've been exploiting defenses with that. So, like you said, they did what they had to do. Big dub of Detroit.
Yeah, still 30-plus points. So, I mean, I can't even say anything. So, yeah, Tennessee at Indy, your boys. But they're still alive.
They're still alive, only on the contention or basis that your boys somehow throw away the rest of your season. We'll get into that a little bit later, just briefly. Monster start for Indy. Tennessee started creeping back at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were just letting plays develop just to kind of kill some clock. But shout out Jonathan Taylor, man. He didn't drop any balls.
Yeah.
He had over 200 yards, couple tutties.
He was on pace for a lot. I think it was the beginning of the third quarter. He had like 180 or like 190 in like the very beginning of the half.
So they, like I said, I think they were letting Tennessee move the ball a little bit. We had a monster lead on them. They didn't want to really get our guys too hurt. Just let Tennessee use as much clock as they did, and they ultimately, if that was the strategy, it did end up working.
Yeah, man. They put up points.
Butthole was a little puckered there towards the end when it was only an 8-point lead, but got the job done. I'll take an Indy dub.
Yeah. Shout out Colts up, baby. Bolts up, Colts up.
There we go. All right, L.A. Rams at the New York Jets. Another one we got right here. L.A.'s looking good, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of wrote them off earlier in the season. I mean, it's not like they had a monster game, but they held New York to 9 points. Aaron Rodgers was moving the ball, but they just couldn't finish the drives. Devontae didn't have that monster game that he did the week before, but big shout out to Kyron Williams. Got over 100 yards. He's running all over that defense, which was for most of the season a pretty stout defense, but the last couple of weeks they've been kind of let some yards go by.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the Rams. Obviously, they were their story this season was they were super hurt early on, and now they're really just trying to power through and get that very underperforming division, and trying to win that division, that underperforming division. I mean, and then the Jets, same story all year. We said it last week. We were like, they're coming in hot. Doesn't that mean like they're the Jets? They probably are gonna have a dud and lose. So, yeah. That's my best input on that one, man. It's a sad season for A-Rod. I hope he comes back, honestly.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope A-Rod and Devontae have a good off season. Get through OTAs together. They're starting to look like they're getting back on that same page. But Father Time is catching up with both of them, and it's difficult. Playing the later half of your career. So
yeah. But next game was a fun one.
Monster game here. This is where you started to redeem yourself. I had Philly, you had Washington, and by all accounts, I think Philly should have won that game up until the last couple minutes. But they were the fourth quarter, Philadelphia was playing super super soft. I mean, they were giving up 12 yards a
Yeah.
pass on those last couple drives. So I was a little concerned with that. But then Jaden Daniels, he's elite, man. He came in, drove him all the way down there, got a tutty, got the 2 point. Did he get the 2.2? Oh no, they went for one. They went for one. But
Yeah.
monster drive. I was actually in DC watching the end of that game at a sports bar before the Caps game, and it was electric, man. There's a lot of life and hope in Washington right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you said it, elite. Like he's shown that he's got to be more than almost every quarterback this year. But he's shown it like 6+ times this season. Like where whether it's the very last play of the game to win it, or if it's like you got 10 seconds to get to field goal range just to keep it within a possession lead before half, like things like that. Like situational football, he locks
yeah.
in, and
Absolutely.
what a game, dude! And obviously, Eagles fans are mad. Jalen Hurts got hurt early in the game. He tried to play it off. The ref was like, "Nah, dude, you gotta go get checked out." Got hit hard. It was unfortunate. It's football. But yeah, man, Kenny Pickett's still a competent guy, and he helped extend the lead a little bit and try to keep the lead. What a game, though. At the end of the day, it was on Jaden Daniels. He balled out. They made sure they got McLaurin the ball still with the Eagles having such studs at DBs. So. Yeah, man, what a game for Washington. Another
And,
big win.
Philly fans, I do know that there was a false start on that pass play.
Yeah. People saw
However, there was like 10 seconds left. I think they still had a couple timeouts too. They would have had another shot, and I highly believe that they would have gotten it into the end zone.
that. Yeah, it wasn't luck, dude. It was
Extra 5
Jaden. It
yards.
was Jaden Daniels, dude. He's a beast. He is elite.
You don't
Crunch time.
you don't drive the ball that far, that fast, and not score. They were going to score regardless of what happened. So an extra 5 yards, they would have had to burn an extra timeout. They would have gotten it back, and they would have won the game. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I guess we'll move on with that one. On that note, Arizona at Carolina. We were both wrong. It was a high-scoring
That was a
matchup.
shocker.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Carolina, as of late, I mean, last week they kind of had a dud of a week, but as of the last 4 or 5 weeks, Bryce Young coming back, they've been playing competent ball. They re-signed Chuba Hubbard, and he's been balling. James Conner balled, too, I remember. He was looking pretty good. But, yeah, Bryce Young did what he had to do, and Chuba Hubbard had a hell of a game.
Yeah, monster game for Hubbard there. James Conner goes out late. If he stays in the game, do the Cardinals win? Possibly. James Conner is a monster piece of that offense. So him going down, I don't know if it was his knee or something with his leg. But relying on the second and third stringers at that point in a game that's that close.
Yeah.
It's what happened. So shout out Carolina, man. You're proving a lot of people wrong the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and two good backs who proved a lot of people wrong in James Conner and Chuba Hubbard. I mean, Chuba Hubbard's younger, but both of them both got contract extensions. Shout out both of them, man. Fantasy studs.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, man.
Yes, they are.
Cleveland at
All
Cincy.
right.
Cleveland,
Cincy.
yeah. Once again, I think this was Jameis didn't get to play, so I blame it on that. But yeah, I mean, they did what they had to do. Cincy's still alive as well. Divisional matchup, and they still, I guess, essentially dominated. They were up at multiple possessions early. I remember, coming into halftime, they were up 17 something, I believe. But yeah, they did what they had to do. I think it was 24-6 or something like that.
Yeah, they did a really good job of shutting down the Cleveland offense. Like I said, I kind of want to see Jay Boogie in there, just kind of slinging it around, just because I know he makes mistakes, but he's got a rocket of an arm. And kind of takes those shots that could get you unsuspecting touchdown. So,
Oh yeah.
but shout out Cincy, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. They're both killing there right now. You can almost, if the Bengals make the playoffs, you can almost argue that Joe Burrow might deserve consideration. Just the numbers he's putting up and just kind of getting them back in there. But
Yeah.
it's hard to take it away from Josh Allen and Lamar at this point.
Yeah, I mean, since he gets to play Denver head-to-head, I think, next week or something like that, so that'll be fun. Or maybe this week, I forget. But yeah, that should be a fun matchup, obviously. And then we'll move right on with Minnesota at Seattle, two competitive ball teams. Minnesota, obviously, I guess they're a powerhouse team, man. They did what they had to do, made Geno do what he does, which throws interceptions. I mean, still put up yards, but I just recall a couple interceptions. Minnesota's defense is, looking the same as they have been all season. And then Sam Darnold slinging the rock, Justin Jefferson back on track type thing. Gotta love to see it, man. Minnesota they're great, man. I still sleep on them. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, you have been sleeping on them for the last
Whole season,
most of the
basically.
season,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they've only lost like 2 games, so I
Mhm.
mean they're really telling you to shut the fuck up every single weekend.
Yeah, man.
But look, yeah, Minnesota's just doing what they've been doing all year. It was a close game. Gino did throw for over 300, but like you said, those costly interceptions, and you only lose by a field goal. That's what good teams do to you, man.
Yeah, man. It was Minnesota. That whole division is just insane right now. I mean, not whole division, but the top three in that division. I mean, the Green Bay. Maybe me would argue is better than Minnesota. I mean, we're about to talk about them here shortly, but yeah, what a division. What a division.
Great division this year. They've been not a great division historically, except for maybe like one or two teams. So I love to see there's a lot of competition up there right now. So
Yeah.
we had Jacksonville at Las Vegas. I guess Las Vegas wanted to prove that they were not the worst team in the NFL. They wanted to
Yeah.
give that to the Giants. They showed up here and
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers.
He's like
Yeah, man.
he was just the guy on that field. Like, you know what I mean? I just remember he had the ball. Like for a tight dude, he's about to beat Mike Ditka's rookie record. He's the type of guy where like I was thinking about it for next year in fantasy. Like, is he one of those guys? A lot of people are gonna be scared to draft him. I don't think he has a sophomore slump. He is that dominant. Like he's insane.
Yeah, I don't know if you come in at a tight end position and have a sophomore slump.
I mean,
It's
Laporta.
not.
Look at Laporta. Like this year, I mean, he's on the Lions, who have way too many weapons. But
I was gonna
last year,
say,
he
I
was
think
a
he's just underutilized this year, though.
yeah. I wouldn't
You
say
could
he's
kind of
bad.
argue
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I agree. I agree. But yeah, Brock Bowers, man, what a maniac. He looks like he's 40 years old. He's balling.
Yeah, I mean, when you're their number one receiver at the tight end position, yeah, I don't think there's a sophomore slump unless you pick up a couple of monster names at receiver next year.
Yeah, man. Shout out. I guess shout out Vegas. Fuck the Raiders. Shout out Vegas for winning though. But fuck the Raiders. San Fran at
San
Miami,
Fran,
baby.
Miami.
This one I was wrong. I keep getting
Yes.
San Fran wrong. It was
Man,
an
I don't
ugly
know why you
game.
keep riding with them. No, it was
Well,
not a good game to watch.
yeah.
Not that I watched much of it, other than a couple highlights, just to kind of familiarize myself. But not a great game. I think Purdy had over 300, but Devon Achane
Yeah,
was
A-Chain
cooking it
was
up for
cooking.
Miami. It was hard to stop him, and when you have a running back that can run and receive like that, kind of control the pace of the game. They just outpaced San Francisco with a 29-17 dub.
Yeah,
So shout out Miami.
I think San Francisco and kind of Miami. Funny enough, those two teams are just like it's obviously disappointing seasons. Like, but coming into this next season for the off seasons, it's gonna be very interesting what they do. They could either be very drastic, very dramatic in what they do, or they can just try to stay on track and come back into next year and compete. Which I mean, that's probably what they'll do. But man, it's just like their weapons can't produce. I mean, San Fran's more banged up, but Miami's defense too. But it's like Tua, he just can't do it, man. I don't know. And then Debo, what are you doing, man? It's just very unfortunate for the two teams.
Yeah, I mean, we talked early in the season about how if you lose Debo, the whole offense kind of starts slowing down and collapsing. But Ayuk going down has not done them any favors either. Obviously,
Yeah, it hurts.
CMC, very unfortunate season. You pick up a somewhat decent backup, and he goes out too. So,
Yeah.
it's been an unfortunate season for San Fran. I don't know. CMC has kind of been injury prone most of his career, so I mean, I don't know. Do you switch it up? Do
Unfortunate.
you give it another chance? I don't know.
It's such a weird thing to like. I don't know. That's why they get paid the big bucks to make those decisions, so they don't fuck it up. Because San Fran, I love watching them, man. I was rooting for them big time last year, but I guess Detroit's the new kids on the block. Yeah, but Tampa Bay. I don't know if you recall this one, but they really fucked up the end of this game. And lost to Dallas, who's just been finding ways to win games with Cooper Rush as of late. CeeDee Lamb's been looking good. And Baker just keeps doing the thing where he like plays good at the beginning and then just like fizzles out like midway through the game. But Tampa had a chance to win this game and they royally fucked it up if I recall correctly. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened.
I don't recall exactly either. It's after a hockey game where all my drinks were free, so a little fuzzy on all the details. But they started off decent, and then like you said, Baker just kind of does this thing where he stalls for some reason, just can't finish the drive. Another example of that this week, where I guess last week, and they paid for it. But
Yeah.
I guess shout out Dallas, man. They I think they've been doing better with Cooper Rush than they did with Dak Prescott. Funny enough.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa Bay. It's really unfortunate too because that division's so much up for grabs. But now it's all the fate's in Atlanta's hands. I mean, they have some hard matchups coming up here, but that'll be an interesting one. Man, I really wish I recall exactly what happened at the end. But man, it was something along the lines of like they had the ball in scoring position at the end of the game to win the game, and all they had to do was that, and they like turned the ball over. Very dumb, like dumb ending. It was like a fumble maybe at the end of the game, and like in like red zone. So yeah, it was just very unfortunate. Situational football, you got to capture the moment, and they didn't. So yeah.
No, I mean, look, they Mayfield threw a pick halfway through the fourth quarter. You can't just be giving up the ball like that. Rashad White fumbled.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Rashad White at the very end of the game, he tried to truck like Jordan Lewis, the DB, and as he got trucked, the DB literally ripped the ball out of his hands. It was the first play of the drive.
That's what it was.
That's
Yeah,
what it was. A very great
yeah.
play on defense, but it's like, damn, man, it reminded me of the playoff game last year when Tampa Bay had like a minute left to go kick a field goal and win the game or something along those lines. The first play, Baker threw a pick six. It's like, damn,
We're
man.
trying to rally in the
I like
fourth,
Tampa.
and like I said, Baker threw just an untimely pass. Got picked off, and then Rashad White's fumble really just kind of killed their chance there. So.
Yeah, and we lost to them by like fucking 25 points last week. That pisses me off.
And NFL's drunk, man.
Yeah, that's the
And
NFL.
then last game, no huge surprise here. A little surprise on the score, though. New Orleans at Green Bay, we both had that one right. 34-0.
Yeah, man, it was disgusting, dude.
Not that Green Bay had like a ton of yards either. I think Jordan Love ended the game with like 160 yards, maybe 180. Josh Jacobs, I think 70 yards, and Jaden Reed was only like 75 yards. So no one put up monster numbers.
Yeah, I mean
They still ended
yeah.
up scoring 34 points.
Yeah, I think they were up like 24-0 at half, but they were just having fun. I mean, I do want to give credit to Green Bay. Like, it was a dominant performance against, I mean, a very banged up, terrible team with like Spencer Rattler at quarterback and an interim head coach. But this is me foreshadowing with what we're about to talk about with power rankings. The Packers still look dominant, so yeah.
No, they look awesome right now. They played really well on defense, obviously, letting up 0 points. But they had a lot of pressures, too, so they just great field position at the end of the game.
All right, well, I'm -9 still, guys, coming into this week, which we're already underway this week. But yeah, that's where we're going to go right into this, though. This is our power rankings coming into week 17, right? What we're going to talk about right now.
Yep,
Yeah.
that sure is.
Last week, I had the Ravens at 5, Eagles at 4. I actually had the Eagles falling out of my top 5. My number 5 team, probably not what many agree with. I have the Packers at 5, dude. I got the Green Bay Packers at 5. They look dominant, and in my humble opinion, I think they're better than the Minnesota Vikings, and we'll see that this week.
All right, well then I'm gonna raise you. I guess a raise isn't whatever. Fuck it. I got Minnesota at number 5.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, it could be either
13-2.
or.
They're winning the hell of a lot of games. You could argue either or. I just think they have a little bit better of a record, and Sam Darnold has proved that he probably does deserve comeback player of the year. Justin Jefferson's proven that he's still one of the top elite receivers. Not to say that Packers don't have monster names or anything like that, but they're I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're as explosive. They're just very consistent at what they do. Consistency is key, though. So.
Yeah. Well, then my number 4 team was my 5, the Ravens. I have the Ravens now at number 4. They've been having dominant statement games. You got an MVP caliber quarterback, obviously, he's already won MVP twice, and people are still talking about him getting better. He's having his best season of his career. And then, like we said, you got Derrick Henry, who's still healthy. And their run defense has actually turned out to be really good. Their pass defense, questionable. Run defense, really good, dude. So, hell yeah.
Yeah, for the same reasons, I'm going to go ahead and take the Ravens at my number 4 as well. I'm not even going to consider what happened, yesterday, because obviously this is week 16 into 17. But they are looking absolutely dominant for all the same reasons. When Lamar doesn't have to run as much to keep them in the game. He's been proven that he's developing even better as a quarterback and just having dominant performances out there.
Yeah, I just realized I wasn't using my mic, so I like burped away from the mic, but it's really my headphones. So you probably just heard me burp, but whatever. My number 3 team is the Detroit Lions. I got them falling out of the top 2 now, which is it's probably stupid. It's naive to say, but like because they still put up 34 points against a not terrible defense in the Bears, interdivisional too. But that being said, it's like it was still a little like, oh, maybe they aren't going to be as good. Like, you would expect them to put up 50 points against the Bears? I don't know. So they're banged up. Caleb Williams looked competent out there. Is that him, or is that the Detroit defense, with some holes out there? I don't know. They're still my top 3 teams, but I got them at 3.
Yep, I also have Detroit at 3. Our top 3 is probably
There
going
you
to be very similar, just kind of how things are playing out. Very similar reasons. I think losing Dave Montgomery and them being as banged up as they are on defense, they're still a dominant team, but it does take a lot kind of off the explosiveness and kind of trying to figure out what they're going to do. It's gotten to more of a standard kind of team setup. Instead of having 2 number 1 backs, you have 1 number 1 back, and you got your stars elsewhere. But still a lot of firepower on that offense, and they can obviously outpace a lot of teams still. So
yeah. Still my number 1 NFC team then, I guess, right? And my number 2 team is the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously the number 1 team in the AFC, locked in the first seed, right? But they're still my number 2 team. That being said, their defense is still phenomenal. And then they almost put up 30 points. They still haven't put up 30 points all season. Almost put up 30 points this week, or this Christmas, that is. So, yeah, Chiefs at 2.
Yeah, give me KC at number 2. They are the best team in the league right now. Like you said, they locked it in, but they are still not dominating games the way you would expect a team that's only lost a single game to. And with how many close games that they have played, I can't give them the number 1 spot just because they almost lost to the Carolina Panthers. They almost lost to so many other teams that are not worthy of beating the Kansas City Chiefs. So they will sit at number 2 until, I guess, they win the Super Bowl, because I am not going to say anything else otherwise.
Yeah, and then obviously the Bills at 1, man. They're still deadly despite, a competitive close matchup with the Patriots. They still did what they had to do, and then despite that, all these other weeks recently, MVP ball and Josh Allen. So their defense is also locked down consistently for the last few years now. It's like a whole identity. They got that crazy home field thing going for them, but they got to see KC at home now, so that's locked in. That'll be interesting. I guess a Kansas City Detroit Super Bowl might be actually kind of fun to watch. I don't know. Fuck Kansas City. Go Chargers.
Buffalo number 1. They have beaten the number 2 and number 3 teams on here. And when everyone's healthy and having a decent game, they are one of the most unstoppable forces out on the field. So give me Buffalo.
Oh yeah, that's our power rankings, man. And we are literally like just a couple weeks away from playoffs, so that'll be really fun to see how that plays out. But yeah, we're going right into our week 17, dude. Oh no, playoff pictures real quick.
Or do you want to look at
we can talk about the quick playoff pictures. You're absolutely right. My bad. Yeah, there's a few playoff contentions still on the line. Like even your boys are still alive, which we just looked into before recording. It's all in the fate of, like, ironically enough, the Chargers, right?
Chargers have to lose out against 2 not so great teams. So, I guess mathematically the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Bengals are still able to clinch a spot if the Chargers or the Broncos gift us some seeds there. But then every other team is eliminated, so you've got the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Texans, and the Steelers all locked in. The Chargers and the Broncos are in the hunt for those last 2 open spots, and then the Colts, Dolphins, Bengals, like I said, are on the bubble. So we'd have to have some gifts from you guys.
That Denver game for you guys was so big, man. Because if y'all beat them,
massive game. And I really do think that the Jonathan Taylor Tutty thing was a momentum swing in the wrong direction. Hey, he didn't trap the ball this time. So, but over on the NFC, the Lions, Eagles, Vikings, and Packers have all clinched a spot. So that means there are 3 open. Right now in the hunt, we have the Rams, who are first in the NFC, Falcons. I'm sorry, NFC
West,
West.
yeah, yeah.
Falcons
Because that
first
division's
in
up
the
for
NFC
grabs.
South, and then the Commanders, who are in second place in the NFC East. So they are all in contention. But on the bubble, you have the Buccaneers, who are second in the NFC South. They are actually they have the same record. So the Falcons, Bucks, it could go either way. And then the Seahawks are also on the bubble right now. Um, yeah, with the 8-7 record, second in NFC West. So they are very, very close behind the Rams. So the NFC, they're still duking it out for those final three spots.
Yeah, West and South, man. That's always fun when like a division's a little stinky and there's contentions on the line coming here in the last few weeks. So that'll be fun, man, to see.
It's gonna be some drama in the West and the South. So,
Yeah.
but to get there, we have to get through Week 17. So let's see what we think is gonna happen here.
Yeah, let's power through, man. Let's see how many differences we have because we have playoffs too, but I don't think it's gonna be very hard for me to even come back.
It's gonna be tough catching up, especially just because like I think strategy wise, you and I are very similar.
Yeah, and as the season comes
in what
on,
we
it's like
see.
yeah, as the season like plays out too, it should be more of an obvious answer, you would think, right? But let's see what we got here. Obviously, we already had Christmas games, our 3 games that already happened, right? That's a reference to you earlier. Kansas
Yeah,
City
yeah.
beat Pittsburgh.
I was sitting here counting, and I forgot I had said that as a dickhead move, and I was like, "What was the other game?"
There we go. Got him back. KC dominant. Russell Wilson, not the Russell Wilson train is losing steam. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. But
yeah, it just didn't look great.
yeah,
Yeah.
2 playoff
But
teams.
yeah, KC's still doing what they got to do. I think Travis Kelce broke some sort of record.
Yeah. He passed Tony Gonzalez for a franchise record for touchdowns, which Antonio Gates still has about 30 or 40 more than both of them. So, anyways, yeah, we had Baltimore at Houston, another one where it's another good matchup, but we both had Baltimore definitely, and they dominated. I think they only let 2 points, which was an ugly safety early in the game, and then C.J. Stroud just getting missing passes and also getting rushed in his face, and it was just like one of those typical, man, like Houston really can't get going, man. It was unfortunate.
No, it's also difficult when you have Derrick Henry running for 150 yards on
Yeah.
you. But yeah, I mean they couldn't do much on the offensive side of the ball there in Houston. So I mean, like we said earlier, he's not. I don't think he's got enough time to set his feet and make the right decisions. But we all saw what happened. Very terrible game. Neither Lamar or Derrick Henry wanted to eat the cake, the Netflix ball cake.
I don't blame him.
It was probably the 2 worst people to ask. They're
don't
probably
blame
the
'em.
most disciplined eaters.
Hell yeah.
But of course, Travis Kelce's fat ass took a bite. So
Yeah. I don't know. That just looked a little dirty to me. But then we got some matchups that aren't happening yet. Tonight's our first one that we're going to guess on here. We had Seattle. We both got Seattle at Chicago. I could see that happening, obviously. Caleb Williams looked pretty good, but Seattle's got, something to play for here with that stinky division. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out for them, but, I think they're still one of the teams on the line. And then we have a parlay coming up for that one, too, so that'll be fun.
yeah, I think Seattle's offense is just a little bit more explosive. I think with JSN and DK Metcalf, and Geno. I know he makes some mistakes, but he also takes a lot of risks. So if some of those risks pay out, I think they can outpace Chicago tonight. And I think Chicago, I just don't think they have enough juice right now. They're coming to form. They're not a horrendous team, but I think they just need a little extra spark to kind of get them to the next level.
Yeah, I agree. And then we got some Saturday football again here, 3 games.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, my
LA
boy
of
Chargers.
New England.
Yeah, I mean, we just got to come in hot and do what we have to do going into the playoffs. That's the way we have to have our mentality set at. I mean, anything can happen, obviously. Like we were just talking with contentions. It's NFL football. Can't sleep on New England and Drake May. But if we do what we have to do, we should be able to limit a young quarterback, make him make some mistakes. And Justin Herbert, he's just going to keep getting healthier and healthier, hopefully. J.K. Dobbins should be coming back potentially. Should be fun to watch.
It'll be a good game for sure. I've got LA for all the same reasons. You guys are in playoff contention. You got something to fight for, and I think you're just a better team. So if your offense can just at least figure out how to start moving on them, I think you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
All right, Denver at Cincinnati. Another big game for AFC wild card spots
Yeah.
here. Cincy, I think, is they're hot right now. I think they're going to use that momentum, just keep kind of steamrolling. Denver, they just haven't been looking great the last couple of weeks. So I don't know. I mean, I know they started good on you guys, but then you guys kind of figured it out how to shut them down and started moving the ball on them. And Cincy, they know how to move the ball, so.
Yeah, I mean this one's a tough one for me. It's tough for me to pick. I mean, obviously I'm not gonna want to pick the Broncos, but they can't sleep on them. If their offense can do what they did as far as like that scripted ball they did against us in the first half and what they've done a lot more recently, if Bo Nix can complete those passes, they can definitely put some points up on Cincinnati and frustrate them. But my gut still leans Cincy, man. They really still think they can make the playoffs. They really can. I think they have the Steelers after this too, so. They're just got to lock in. I think that's what they'll do. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow's been spreading the ball around. Just keep them healthy, man. They should be a competitive team. So.
All right, we got Arizona at the Los Angeles Rams. LA's got a lot to fight for. I don't. Is Arizona statistically they've been eliminated as of last week? Correct.
Yeah, it was a. If they have 8 losses, I don't know. Regardless, I mean the Rams have the first place in that division. I think they're gonna lock it in too. I mean.
Yeah, they're gonna lock it in for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Sunday.
Sunday. Jets at Buffalo. Moving on.
Yep, I agree.
Well, let's talk about the our number 5s here.
Yeah, I mean same thing what we were talking about with the power rankings. I think Green Bay's just played more consistent, dominant football, better, and I mean 2 great coaches, honestly. I'm sleeping on Minnesota, I agree, but that doesn't mean Green Bay, I think, is worse than that. I think Green Bay is going to prove that they're the better team in that division between the 2.
I think you can kind of argue that Green Bay is definitely a more consistent team, just kind of how they show up each week. But I will give Minnesota the fact that they are more of an explosive team, and that could, if they can get kind of something going, might disrupt Green Bay's plans a little bit.
Yeah, definitely up in the air for that one. But next one, a stinker bowl, kind of the opposite here. I got Vegas,
so
you got New Orleans.
Yeah. Both are terrible teams, so I just think that maybe New Orleans might be just a little less terrible this week. I don't know. Home field advantage is the only thing that got me. That's the only thing that pushed it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought of New Orleans putting up 0 points on primetime football. I think Aiden O'Connell's played more competent ball than Spencer Rattler, despite I think Rattler is a talented quarterback. Like, he has a good arm, but yeah, you got to put it on the field. You got to put it together, and he hasn't, so.
Yeah, I think the goose egg was an embarrassment, and they're going to at least try to kind of atone for that, so I'm hoping they kind of...
Whatever. Shitty football regardless.
No one cares.
Yeah.
Indy at New York Giants. Damn, I should go to this game, too, so I can go...
You have to be the... Yeah, and you would... Dude, you guys have to beat the Giants. I mean, it's just they are the worst team in the league.
There's no way. I mean, especially with how we played against Tennessee early on in that game, there's no reason why we shouldn't run all over them and see some explosive plays from AR.
Yeah, I agree. And then we got another one here, Carolina.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Playoffs, baby, for
I think
Tampa
has something to play for, man. They need to get fired up and not kind of. I'm hoping most teams are not sleeping on Carolina at this point. Coming in with a soft week, and every win at this point counts for Tampa. So I think they're going to use that to drive it home.
Yeah, I mean Tampa's obviously been a little inconsistent, but they are a good team, good defense, and a productive quarterback. Where Baker, if he just doesn't do what he usually does, where he fizzles out, I think they should prove to dominate this game, and then I can see it. Obviously, we're going to talk about it, Atlanta losing, and a swing happens for that division. I think that's going to happen.
There we go. Tennessee at Jacksonville, another terrible game on 2 teams that have been eliminated from playoffs, which means they'll probably be one of the best games to watch this week. But we both have Tennessee. I think they're just slightly less shitty with Mason Rudolph on the helm.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if T-Law... I think T-Law's done. I think he had surgery on his shoulder this year, so he's done. So, yeah, give me Tennessee on that one.
Yeah, I mean, 2 unfortunate franchises here. But I guess Westbrook Akine is going to score a touchdown, and Brian Thomas is going to score a touchdown. Lock that in.
There you go, guys. All right, Miami at Cleveland. We both have Miami on this. Cleveland is just not looking good as of late. Miami's still technically in the playoff hunt. Again, if some other teams gift them some L's on their end. And look, I think Miami's just slightly more talented on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Cleveland's actually tanking right now. I swear Jameis would make them better. I mean, you don't got Nick Chubb anymore for the short stint that he had this season, which is very unfortunate. But yeah, Miami is going to play more competent ball. A-Chain's a real gem they got. So no matter what, A-Chain I think eats. He has a good
There we
defense.
go. Dallas at Philadelphia. We both have Philly on this one. Not to say that Dallas hasn't been playing decent ball, but coming off a huge loss, I think Philly has something to play for. Just
Yeah.
at least for the sake of taking the NFC East.
Yeah, for the sake of Saquon. Yeah, Saquon's going to run it up. I'm sure he wants to win some awards too, right? And I'm sure Jalen Hurts is going to be back from that concussion. So, yeah, I don't see why Philly doesn't make a statement win maybe against Dallas. It has been slightly hot, yeah, but I agree.
There we go. Atlanta at Washington. I think Washington's offense is just a little too hot for Atlanta's defense to keep up. Love to see a shootout between the two.
Yeah.
Hopefully Penix has an awesome game, primetime game. So that would be great to end the weekend on that. But I think just with how Washington's been playing, I don't see Atlanta taking this one.
Yeah, I mean, not much tape on Penix in the NFL. He looked good. He did what he had to do. It wasn't like anything outstanding last week, but maybe this. I see that happening. I see a bad pass D in Washington maybe getting exposed by Penix a little bit here, but still, I think it's gonna be a shootout and Washington wins.
There we go. And then Monday we have Detroit at San Francisco. I mean they're my number 3 team for a reason, and San Francisco's just been kind of dropping the ball here. So yeah, give me Detroit.
Yeah, sorry, San Fran. It's been a very upsetting season. You guys just got to reset, regroup, and Detroit's gonna probably win this game. It might be closer than we think. Like we said, they're banged up, but still the best team in the NFC in my opinion.
There we go.
And that's it.
All right. That's our week 17. So, I don't know. You want to follow the rest of the money
Yeah.
line? Go for it.
Hell yeah.
Well, now that we're talking about betting, though, let's kind of wrap it up with our parlay of the week.
Yeah, what are we, like 1-3, 1-2 on our parlays?
1-16.
Okay, all right, fair. But it was close enough, I guess. But yeah, let's lock it in, guys. We got a 4-leg parlay for tonight's game. I guess we'll start off rip with one of my legs right here. I think Caleb Williams, alternate rushing yards, just 25 rushing yards. He's probably hit that mark, like I would guess maybe like 6 of the last 8 weeks. He's played more productive, efficient football as of late. I see that happen. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see it. And, I think Seattle at times does play a little soft against running quarterback, so I can definitely see it happening. Give me, for my leg, JSN over on the receiving yards at 75.5. He's a stud out there. He gets a ton of targets. And Chicago does give up some yards, so.
Hell yeah. And then my last leg here of our 4-leg parlay is going to be a Keenan Allen anytime touchdown. The Vets found the end zone a good amount of times the last few weeks. You can't knock him when it comes to goal line looks as well. And Seattle has some studs at 1-2 corners, but I could see Keenan in a slot, exposing a linebacker on a mismatch or something. I see it happen. Let's make it happen.
He's a big body with really good hands. Like you said, he's found the end zone a couple times, and that's I think he's been known for his consistency and sure hands. So get him down 5-yard line.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
going Keenan all day.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of tutties and big bodies, give me a DK tutty. I think a lot of attention's being drawn to JSN right now. And then if you're down in the red zone. There's always a chance that you just throw it up for a 50-50 ball with DK, and it's probably more of a 65-35 depending on the corner you got.
Yeah, man, more like 75-35, right? But yeah, no, I like it. Babytron Jr. Babytron.
Babytron, there we go.
Yeah, Babytron touchdown.
That's like
Love it.
plus 2,400 something. That's some ridiculous line, and I think all of these are very attainable. So let's make some money tonight.
Make some moolah. We'll finally be like 500 on our parlay record, 2-2 or something like that.
Yeah,
So
something like that.
and guess
Interesting
what?
math.
And we hit 50 minutes right on the dot like we planned.
Oh no, we gotta just Oh, damn. We didn't put
Ah,
our
dude.
parlay glasses on. Hey, hit our parlay of DK Tuttle, Keenan Tuttle, JSN over 75.5 yards, Caleb Williams over 25 rushing yards.
And that's the podcast, y'all.
That was
Thanks for
week
tuning
17 of Pound the Walk
in the
Podcast.
Walk Podcast.